Welcome to Sorted Eats Japan. Over the next 6 weeks, we're going to show you what we believe to be 6 iconic Japanese dishes, and you get to tell us whether they're right or whether they could be improved.
This is our first one. It's mochi with a red bean filling. To begin our mochi, we're actually going to do the filling first.
Okay.
So it's a red bean filling, very, very traditional, very, very simple. 3 ingredients, and one of those comes straight out of a tap.
Red beans.
Water.
Water.
But the red beans, if you can't get them at your supermarket, then you can always order them online. They're pretty hard to get hold of in the UK. I ordered them online, they arrived, no trouble. Some parts of the world, they're much easier to get. Red beans, they are super hard. So what we need to do is cook them. So they're gonna go into a pan covered with loads and loads.
You have to speak up.
About a litre of cold water.
Now, I've had red bean paste before in the middle of a couple of different things, actually, like pastries and stuff like that. Is that what this is going to be like?
That's exactly what this is. That is what we're making.
Okay, great.
That's what we're making.
I'm glad.
Thanks for joining us.
That's fine.
All we're going to do is heat this up to a boil, and when it's boiling, give it about 5 minutes, and then drain it off through a sieve, catching the beans, obviously, and then refill it with another litre of cold water. That first 5 minutes just gets rid of all the scum, and then you can bring it up to a boil and let that simmer for 90 minutes.
90?
That's how long it needs for those beans that are rock hard to soften, at which point it looks something like this.
Oh yeah, they're like kidney beans now.
Not only are they swollen, but they are much, much softer. So at this point, we can drain them and then place all of the cooked mushy beans back into the saucepan along with the second ingredient that doesn't come out of a tap.
Sugar.
Correct. So bring that up to a bubble so the sugar dissolves and it goes all syrupy. Let it bubble for about 10 minutes until it's really thick. In the meantime, we can make the mochi.
Yes.
Mochi is kind of a glutinous rice flour mix, and in this bowl, you're going to mix 1 part caster sugar, 3 part rice flour, and 3 part cold water. So when we say part, we're talking about cups or ramekins or anything that has a volume, not by weight.
Okay.
And give it a whisk until you've got a very loose mixture. Perfect. As soon as we're lump free, we are good to cook it. Now we're going to do this in a microwave. I started off by steaming it, and I did a couple of batches and I wasn't very happy with it. Bit of research, turns out microwaving it is much easier, you've got much more control. That's the way we're going to show you. So that gets covered with cling film or a plate. It goes into a microwave for 3 minutes, but you want to stop it about halfway through to give it a stir.
Has anyone figured out how we move from here to the microwave?
You're doing just fine.
It's just a shuffle, isn't it?
It's the mochi shuffle.
The mochi shuffle.
After 90 seconds, you can see it's beginning to kind of cook in places. It's starting to get sticky, but it's not there yet. Put the plate back on, and give it another 90 seconds.
Just be a minute.
Fantastic. And there we go, a super, super sticky.
Oh, that really is sticky.
Really, really glutinous mixture. You can see how hot it is. Whatever you do, don't put your finger in it because it's got the sugar as well. It will stick and it will burn. However, we can transfer it into a tray we've lined with corn flour. And the corn flour is going to be our saviour here because it will just stop anything from sticking. That needs to cool down until it gets to a temperature that we can actually play with it and shape it into what we want. In the meantime, we can show you this as well. This is our beans. So they go fantastically sticky.
Yeah.
They also need to cool down until they look something like that.
Wow.
So at this point, our mochi has had about half an hour to cool down. You don't want it to go completely cold because it's nice to work with when it's a little bit warm. You grab little pieces of it, use the corn flour to pat it out nice and thin, and then we're going to put a teaspoon of our red bean mixture in the middle.
That backfired.
Now who's wearing black, you see? A little teaspoon of our red bean paste in the middle, and you want to try and stretch the mochi as thin as possible over that teaspoon of filling. So kind of clump it together and then turn it over. And you'll end up with a larger piece of rice at the bottom, and you can just kind of pinch or cut that off. You can go any size you want, but to be honest with you, something like that just sits at the end of your fingers, perfect.
Perfect. So is this how you would make your mochi at home? We would love to know. Please comment down below, let us know. The whole point of this series is that we don't know everything. Yes, Ben's been to Japan, he's tasted them authentically, but we don't know if we can recreate them authentically. We're trying.
The last thing you can do if you want is just a little bit of water on top, and you can just roll them, makes them super sticky, in toasted sesame. So we can go inside of here, and it's just an added flavour, obviously, but also an added crunch.
Nice.
I'm not going to lie, there's probably
Stop rubbing up on me, you keep getting on me.
cleaner recipes out there. We've made a bit of a pig's ear. However, we have ended up with some pretty awesome red bean mochi sorted.
I'm going to go sesame.
Snap, I prefer the sesame one.
Okay, well, I'll go non-sesame then, so we get balance. It's far more savoury than you expect it to be.
So it's got that glutinous kind of chewy. The mochi isn't too sweet, but the red bean fill in the middle kind of is.
I'm going to have to go for a sesame one now as well.
I like the sesame because it adds another level of texture. Tell us whether you do the sesame one, the plain one, whether you put a different filling in it, or in fact, if you do anything different at all.
And if you want the full recipe with photos and step-by-step instructions, then make sure you head to Sorted Food.